Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast, and we've got a bonus episode for you guys today. My name is Nathan Stroud, and we've got some breaking news regarding the Baltimore Ravens, and this is a little bit early of an episode that I usually like to do, and also this is kind of a bonus episode, so we're still going to have an episode later today covering the Orioles game, but had to come on here and record this bonus episode for you guys because there is some breaking news regarding the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens have now officially signed cornerback Jaire Alexander, former cornerback for the Green Bay Packers, one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He's consistently been one of the best corners in the league since he joined the NFL. He's 28 years old. He's not necessarily old, but he's also not necessarily young. He's kind of right in that sweet spot in terms of what you like to see from an NFL player. But the Ravens go out here and make the move. I said yesterday in yesterday's episode when I was going over Ravens mini camp and kind of the stuff that, people were talking about and, different quotes and everything like that. Lamar Jackson went up there and was, the media was asking him about the possibility of Jaire joining the Ravens. Jaire obviously was former college teammates with Lamar at Louisville. And now, less than 24 hours later, from the quotes that were happening yesterday about him saying to go get him, obviously, Lamar Jackson yesterday was telling the media, he said, Eric, go get him. Go get my guy. Obviously, college teammates, these guys have a very close relationship. Very good friends. Lamar told Eric DeCosta to go get him, and less than 24 hours later, the Ravens do just that. Eric DeCosta goes out and signs Jaire Alexander, and this was a very under-the-radar move. There was a lot of teams that were interested in Jaire, especially the Carolina Panthers, I think, were the team that were putting up the most money for him. But Jaire actually turned down the money and signed for cheap so he could play with Lamar. So that's just the Lamar Jackson impact for y'all right there. The Ravens get Jaire Alexander. It's still insane for me to even see this. This was a dream signing for the Ravens, and this was a guy who, even going back to last year, a lot of Ravens fans were kind of looking at Jaire and saying, okay, this is a possible guy that could join our team. Obviously, he has the connection with Lamar with Louisville. And a lot of Ravens fans looked at Jaire as someone that could join the Ravens. And now he is officially here. And the way that this all happened was very, very odd. So, if we go over and look at the Ravens Twitter, because that's kind of where everything kind of culminated. So, everything was chill, everything was normal today. And then all of a sudden the Ravens tweeted out and said, sliding to the Ravens with the little demon emoji. So everyone kind of saw that and was like, okay, what's going on? What's really going on right now? And then 10 minutes later, the Ravens post the picture of Jaire signing his contract with the Ravens. There was no report. There was no JPA football report, no Bleacher Report, no NFL posting, no Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, indication that this was going to happen. This news was broken by the Ravens themselves, and you never see that in football. You never see an NFL team break their own news to the public before, another NFL insider gets that info first. So this was just really a crazy situation. I'm ready. I looked at my phone, I saw the video of Lamar dapping up Jaire and was saying Lamar was the first one to welcome Jaire. And I was so confused. I was like, what? And then I scroll down and then I see this picture. And Jaire's officially a Raven, man. This is so crazy to see. It's also crazy how this all happened where nobody even knew this was going to happen. Everybody knew it was a possibility. It was known that there was mutual interest. But the biggest problem with signing Jaire is obviously Jaire is going to probably ask for, 12 to 13 to $14 million a year at corner. And the reason why the Packers cut him is not because of how, not because of how he plays on the football field. It's because, one, he didn't want to be there, and there was just disagreements on a contract extension. And they also cut him because of his contract. Because they didn't want to have to pay him a lot of money, because he was going to demand a lot of money, because he's one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He's one of the best corners in football. He's been that over the past few seasons. And now he's a Raven, which is insane to see. again, there was mutual interest between the Ravens and Jaire, but most of it was going to be like, okay, he's just going to go where the money is. But he turned down probably double to even maybe triple what he signed for to come and play with Lamar. So he turned down the money to sign with Lamar. This contract, by the way, was a 1 year, I think it was a 1 year, $6 million deal with the Ravens. Actually, no, I think it was a 1 year, $4 million deal with up to $6 million in incentives. So a very, very, very cheap contract for a player that's this good. This is an absolute steal by Baltimore. We completely just stole him away from the market, and the only reason why he came here is obviously because he wanted to join, a Super Bowl contending team, but also because the main driver in this factor was Lamar Jackson, man. His former college teammate. There's videos of back in the draft where, Jaire got hype, Jaire was in the middle of an interview after he got drafted by the Packers, and then in the background, Lamar got drafted. You can see Jaire get up, and he was excited for his guy because, again, you go back and look at all the hate that Lamar got during college and in the combine and everything like that, and, this guy's a really true friend to Lamar, and it's obvious why Lamar wanted him on this team, not only because of the way he plays on the field, because he's a great friend to him. So Lamar Jackson pretty much completely recruited this guy himself. There is also a picture with Jaire, Eric DeCosta, and Lamar. This man Lamar is the master negotiator in this situation. He pretty much got Jaire himself, and this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Again, the Ravens pulling this move off is ridiculous. And again, I'll say it over and over again, this is an absolute steal. This is the biggest addition that the Ravens got this offseason. With everyone that we got in the draft, with obviously the DeAndre Hopkins signing, this is the biggest move that we made this offseason. And in terms of acquiring talent, man, this is one of the bigger moves that the Ravens have made recently in terms of acquiring talent in free agency. And we didn't even have to go out and spend money. This was completely, he turned down so much more money to come play for the Ravens because he wanted to play for this team and because he wanted to play with Lamar Jackson. So it really is insane how that works. And man, I could not be more excited for this signing because this signing really, again, the rich get richer regarding to the Ravens, but this signing really does make the Ravens team, when you look at this secondary and the defense in general, it's actually ridiculous. And when you go look at the secondary now and you look at the corners, you've got Jaire, you've got Marlon Humphrey, you've got Nate Wiggins. Obviously, those are the three key guys at corner. Nate Wiggins can obviously be a rotational guy, or we can run three corners at once and have all three of them out there. But then you look at the secondary as well with Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. So you have Jaire Alexander, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks. That is ridiculous, and I'll stand 10 toes down on it. That is the best secondary in football, and I think that this move just might have been the move to make the Ravens the best defense in the NFL. Obviously, I named all the guys on the secondary, but you still have got guys like Roquan Smith, like Nnamdi Madubuike, like Odafe Owe, like Calvin Noy, saw what he did last year with the double-digit sacks, and then obviously with Mike Green, who was, in my opinion, the biggest steal of the draft in terms of where we got him and how high he was supposed to go. So you have Mike Green, you got Odafe Owe, you got Roquan Smith, you got Nnamdi Madubuike, you got Jaire Alexander, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton. It is an absolutely loaded defense, and that's just on the defensive end. You go look at the offense. You got Lamar, you got Derrick Henry, you got DeAndre Hopkins, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark. It is ridiculous the amount of star power that's on this team. And I'm just gonna say this now, man. For the people that don't think that this is a big deal or that this is a big signing, and for the people that are saying, oh, well, he was on the free agent market, so obviously it's not that big of a deal because no one else picked him up to this point because nobody wanted him. That was not the case. Jaire Alexander has been in talks with multiple different teams, and he was talking to the Panthers, he was talking to the Raiders. I remember those were the two big teams that came up. He was also talking to the Bills, I saw as well. So when you look at those teams, they were offering him well over $12 million. And again, for a corner, that is a pretty decent amount of money for a corner. and he was in conversations with those guys, but he wanted to get a deal done, obviously, like before, preseason and stuff, so he could have time to do stuff in mini camp and training camp and stuff like that. But Lamar Jackson yesterday said, Eric, go get him, talking about Jaire Alexander, and then Eric DeCosta hit him up, said, hey, you want to come negotiate your contract live in person in Baltimore? Jaire flew out, signed his deal, and then that was it. And again, as I said, the Ravens broke this news themselves. There was no reports on anything. The first word that this was happening was when the Ravens posted this picture. When the Ravens posted this picture right here, and if you're listening on Spotify, it's a picture of Jaire signing his contract. In the background, it says, welcome to Baltimore, Jaire. This was the indicator that we signed him. Obviously, they teased it like a little bit, like, someone's sliding to Baltimore. And then the Ravens go and sign him. And they broke their own news, which to me is insane. And the Ravens, again, they always surprise you, man, with these additions. They somehow just get all these amazing players, and they just steal them away from everybody else. I'm talking about the draft, obviously, with getting Malachi, that was a steal. Getting Mike Green, that was a huge steal. Getting Kyle Hamilton, that was a steal. Getting Tyler Linderbaum, that was a steal. And then looking to this offseason, like signing DeAndre Hopkins was such a low-risk, high-reward scenario where you don't even pay him a lot of money and he goes out there and balls for you. Same thing with Jaire Alexander. And with Jaire and DeAndre Hopkins, obviously Jaire is like in the middle of his prime. Last year he didn't necessarily have like a spectacular season, and he has dealt with some injury issues in the past, but when he's on the field, he's one of the best cornerbacks in football, and the Ravens pretty much just steal him away from the market purely because of Lamar Jackson negotiations. So, and Lamar also said that he's talked to him as well. So, Lamar Jackson, Eric DeCosta pretty much negotiating this themselves, signs to Baltimore pretty much for nothing. He signs to Baltimore on a one-year deal pretty much just to play for this team, which is insane, and it shows how badly players want to play for this Ravens team. They know the potential of this team going into this season. And I'll say this, I saw a couple people on Twitter earlier saying the same thing, but if the Ravens, like, there's no excuses, man. There really is none at all. Barring any significant injuries to guys like Lamar or Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Derrick Henry, or even main guys on your defense, like that are like season lasting, there is no excuse for this team to not win a Super Bowl. There is, and I'll say this 10 times over, there is not a single flaw on this Ravens team. When it comes to receivers, when it comes to tight ends, when it comes to running backs, quarterbacks, O-line, secondary, corners, safeties, linebackers, edge rushers, D-tackles, there is not a single weakness on this Ravens team. And if there is a weakness on this Ravens team, it would be the kicker position. But we don't even really know what Tyler Loop is, all made of yet. So I'm not even going to really speak on that because we don't know what the kicking position is going to be like this year. So I'll speak more on it whenever we actually see him in action and kicking balls that matter. But as it stands right now, again, there's no hole on this Ravens team right now. They have built this team perfectly to win a Super Bowl, and much like the Eagles last year, if you look at that Eagles team last year, again, there was really no flaw in the Eagles. You have Jalen Hurts, you had a great receiving core with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you had Saquon Barkley, you had the best O-line in football, and then you go look at the defense, you had arguably the best, you had the best pass rush in football, you had an incredible secondary. There's no excuse for this Ravens team to not go and win a Super Bowl, or at least make the Super Bowl. Like, there's no reason why this team cannot come out of the AFC. This is the most talented team in the AFC, and there's no questions about it. From a talent standpoint, from an on-paper standpoint of what is the best team in the AFC, this move right here, in my opinion, the Ravens were already the best team in the AFC talent-wise, but this move just bolsters it even more. Jaire Alexander is a Baltimore Raven. That's just insane for me to say. This was a dream signing scenario for a lot of Ravens fans, but there was a lot of doubt from Ravens fans that this would even happen, including me. I didn't think that we were going to get Jaire Alexander because I didn't obviously think that we would have the money to go out and get him because he was going to demand a lot of money, but he ends up signing for cheap to join the Ravens, and you don't see that ever from guys now in the NFL. And it's ridiculous to see, but man, I could not be more excited about this Ravens season. Welcome to Baltimore, Jaire Alexander. This is a perfect fit. Obviously, him, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins. In my opinion, Jaire is the best corner on the team now. You just signed the best corner on the team, alongside Marlon Humphrey, alongside Nate Wiggins, and then obviously alongside Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton in the secondary. This team is absolutely stacked, and there is no excuse why they can't go out here. First of all, glide to the playoffs like nothing matters, and then once they get to the playoffs, go and win a Super Bowl, man. This is the year. This is this team's time after years of choking in the playoffs, after years of, being right there at the finish line, but just not being able to get over the hump year after year. So many bizarre, crazy, weird situations going on in the playoffs with the fumbles and the drops recently. All the bizarre scenarios, obviously looking back to the Tyler Huntley fumble on the 1 yard line, the Zay Flowers fumble on the 1 yard line, the Lamar Jackson, fumble return, the Mark Andrews fumble, the Mark Andrews drop. Like, every single year, man, for the Ravens, there's just been some bizarre scenario. And even with those scenarios, they're still right there, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump, barely, every single season. But they have built this team so perfectly where there is no holes. There is literally no holes, man. You look at the wide receiver core now. You have DeAndre Hopkins as your wide receiver 3. Yes, he might be older, but that's what they said about Derrick Henry, and look what he's doing right now. If you go look at a picture of Derrick Henry in practice, he looks like he's been lifting cows in the offseason. He looks as bulk and as buff as he's ever looked in his career, and I think he turns 32 this year. That is insane. But Jaire Alexander is a Raven. Obviously had to make this bonus episode because this is a big signing. One of the bigger signings this offseason. Not necessarily from a money standpoint, but from a player and talent perspective. This is one of the biggest signings this offseason. Jaire Alexander, one of the better corners in football, man. He makes this Ravens team just that much better. And the biggest thing for me is I hope he can stay healthy. He has dealt with some injury stuff in the past, which is probably another reason why the Packers didn't really want to get him back, is because they didn't want to give him a lot of money when he has dealt with injury stuff. So at the end of the day, all you can really hope for is that this Ravens team, or that he can get lucky with these injuries, and that we just can stay healthy and everything will be good to go. Because that's really the only thing that can stop the Ravens is themselves. There is not a single team in the NFL, in my opinion, other than maybe the Philadelphia Eagles, that can stop this Ravens team from a talent standpoint. Like, the only thing that can stop the Ravens is themselves. And hopefully, they can get everything under control. And mindset-wise, they can get everything good to go for this season. But Jaire Alexander, again, I'll say it one more time. Jaire Alexander, welcome to Baltimore. This is a huge signing. And this season's about to be a lot of fun. But if you like this content, again, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, and also check the link in both of those platforms to follow my socials, my Twitter, my Instagram. I post updates on there all the time. I know this is a little bit different of an episode than usual. I usually kind of just go over the Orioles game, and then I'll get into some Ravens news. And initially, I was going to wait until tonight to talk about this in my episode for today, but I had to come on here and make a bonus episode for y'all. This is a big deal. I mean, I couldn't just gloss over this. The only other time that I've done a bonus episode has been the Orioles fired Brandon Hyde, which is also obviously a big deal. So anytime there's a big signing or a big deal of anything going on, I'm obviously going to make an episode just dedicated to that. And this signing obviously deserved its own episode. So a huge signing from the Ravens. I'm so excited that we got this guy. This is a dream signing, man. I can't say it enough. An absolute dream signing for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, if you like this content, make sure to subscribe and follow up on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. I'll have an episode up later tonight talking about the Orioles and Rays Game 3. So I'll have an episode up later today talking about Game 3 of that series. But again, I had to make a bonus episode right now for this signing. I mean, this is a big deal for the Ravens. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys later tonight. I'll have an episode up sometime tonight going over that game. And I'll see you on the next one. Go Ravens, go O's, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.